Golden FM 97.5.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the Golden FM Sunrise National and World News. In the headlines, President Tinubu orders pays last respect to former President Buhari in Daura. Stakeholders in Niger Delta speak on legacies of late President Buhari. Police bust kidnap gang, recover 5 million naira ransom in Delta. Bayelsa NUJ chairman inaugurates 2025 Press Week Committee. On the foreign scene, Kenya soldiers killed in roadside blast. Details coming up shortly.
Let's believe every team strikes gold. Here on 97.5 Golden FM.
Thanks once again for joining us in the Golden FM Sunrise National and World News. I am Moya Steve. Now the details. President Bola Tinubu has paid his last tribute to former President Muhammadu Buhari, who was buried on Tuesday in his hometown, Daura in Katsina State. His body was lowered into the ground at about 5:51 p.m. Ali Lamin Zein, Prime Minister of Niger Republic, President Mahamadou Issoufou, former Niger Republic President, as well as other African leaders, were among the dignitaries who witnessed the final burial rites of the former president. Governors, ministers, and other dignitaries also attended the event. From the airport, the late president's body was transported by a specially prepared ambulance under tight security to Daura as residents lined up to pay their final respects. Earlier, he received 21 gun salutes from the military as a mark of respect to the retired Army General. Late President Buhari, who served as Nigeria's head of state from 1983 to 1985, returned as a democratically elected president from 2015 to 2023, died in London on Sunday, July 13, 2025, at the age of 82 after an undisclosed illness. Mr. Femi Adesina, former presidential spokesperson, says late President Muhammadu Buhari could have died a long time ago if he relied on Nigerian hospitals. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Adesina said Nigeria lacks expertise needed to handle the late president's health. The former presidential spokesperson argued that his late boss had always been treating himself in the UK before he was elected president. He added that those criticizing late president for foreign medical treatment should know that he must be alive to effect change in his own country. Meanwhile, some stakeholders have reflected on what former President Muhammadu Buhari will be remembered for in the Niger Delta region, particularly in terms of his legacy projects. Speaking with newsmen, Mr. Philip Agu, the National Treasurer of the Ijaw National Congress INC, who commiserated with the family of the late President Buhari, said the East-West Road, one of his campaign promises, did not receive the kind of attention it deserved during his administration.
Pinpoint critical infrastructure development that was carried out by his administration that we can feel, particularly the East-West Road. But one can quickly recall that the East-West Road was one of the campaign points that was raised by people who supported it. And we were thinking that one of the quick gifts given to the Niger Deltas is the quick fit of that East-West Road. But it remained in that bad state until its tenure completed.
However, the INC official noted that relative peace enjoyed in the Niger Delta during the last president's tenure was largely due to the reward of the pipeline surveillance contractor, an indigenous contractor from the region.
In the Niger Delta, at least was called to a reasonable extent. For instance, the award of the pipeline surveillance job to indigenous firms actually created an environment of peace to a reasonable extent. What we are there looking for is basically the oil and gas facilities that they were able to secure so that the economy of the country will not go down. So there was no way they would have overlooked the security situation in the Niger Delta.
On his part, Mr. Olalekan Ige, public affairs analyst, said the Ogoni people, along with others in the Niger Delta, will not forget the former president as his administration ensured that hydrocarbon pollution remediation project and the Boni Border Road received adequate funding.
Could be said about him in terms of East-West Road, even though I know that the contractor got additional funding under Buhari's administration, but I don't think we saw much of improvement East-West Road. You could also commend him for completing the new Niger Bridge, I should rather say now, that connects Anambra and Delta State, that is connecting Onitsha and Asaba. I think we also got a loan to be able to fix the Port Harcourt Aba Enugu Railway, although it didn't end at the end of his administration, but that Port Harcourt to Aba Railway has not been completed.
The presidency says it is engaging relevant authorities in the United States and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, to resolve recent visa policy changes affecting Nigerian citizens. A statement by Mr. Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor on Information and Strategy to President Bola Tinubu, said the government is working to ensure that the concerns raised are addressed through appropriate and constructive channels. He said the president has directed all federal agencies to ensure compliance with Nigeria's international obligations and to strengthen cooperation with foreign governments on identity verification and record sharing. The statement added that the government had not received any official notification from the UAE regarding reports of new restrictions affecting Nigerian travelers and reiterated its commitment to deepening bilateral ties with the US and the UAE. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, has warned Nigerians against transacting with SPE, UPIL, and PREM Staff Cooperative Societies Limited. In a statement, the CAC said the three companies are operating with fake certificates of incorporation and registration numbers not issued by the Commission. It cautioned that anyone who conducts business with these entities does so at their own risk. General Christopher Musa, the Chief of Defense Staff, has called on communities hosting the Trans-Niger pipeline to take full responsibility for protecting critical national infrastructure within their areas. Speaking through his representative, Navy Captain Lassie Ozovehe, at the stakeholders' engagement at Port Harcourt, General Musa stressed that the harmful effects of pipeline vandalism and oil theft are often borne by the communities themselves. He warned that such activities destroy the environment and pose serious health risks. Traditional rulers who spoke during the meeting expressed concern about how illegal bunkering and pollution have worsened hunger and poverty in the region. They urged oil companies to stop gas flaring and encouraged the company managing the Trans-Niger pipeline to help highlight the health and environmental challenges faced by the communities in the Niger Delta. The Delta State Police Command has arrested 5 suspected kidnappers and recovered a 5 million naira ransom during a sting operation in Ogwashiuku Forest, Oshimini North local government area. Mr. Bright Edafe, the State Police Public Relations Officer, confirmed the arrest in a statement made available to newsmen in Warri. He said investigations revealed the gang had been behind several kidnappings in communities across the local government area. In a separate raid on July 9 along the Patani-Uyeli Expressway, he said police officers confronted another gang of armed suspects. During a gun battle, 6 people were fatally wounded and died at the hospital, while 2 others are receiving treatment under police watch. 4 locally made guns and 19 live cartridges were recovered from them. Now you are listening to the Sunrise National and World News on 97.5 Golden FM Yanagua. Still to come, more news. Please stay tuned.
This is your Golden Over 97.5 Golden FM, the gold standard of radio.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the Sunrise National and World News on 97.5 Golden FM. And now for the rest of the bulletin. Comrade Tonye Yemlea, the chairman of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ Bayelsa State Council, has inaugurated the planning committee for the 2025 Press Week. Speaking during the ceremony held at the Anisikoli Press Center in Yanagua, Comrade Yemlea stressed the need to prepare early, saying it would help the union attract sponsors and partners ahead of the event. He described the press week as a vital platform to boost the image of the NUJ and deepen its engagement with the public.
Our committed ourselves to do is to start early preparations. If we start planning, preparing early, it means we are going to get things right. That is why the annual press week scheduled for later part of the year, we feel as council, we should commence your fair. We are doing this because we will be having the right time to come up with the budget for approval. We have sufficient time as well to ensure that we get partnerships and sponsorships.
He also appealed to the committee to set aside a day to honor veteran journalists in the state, noting that their experiences remain valuable to the growth of the profession. Mr. Wanama Dandison, who was named chairman of the 2025 Press Week Committee, thanked the union for the confidence in his team. He promised that the committee would work hard to deliver a memorable celebration that will add value to the union.
And qualification. These are a lot of other persons that are qualified to carry out this assignment. The farmers first want giving us this assignment. And they always see, so we want to see what is expected. What is the mechanics for to assure you that we deliver.
Other members of the committee include Comrades Eni Deneze Etete, Mrs. Grace Orumie Yefa, Timinipri Ohia, Samuel Oyedonga Ekankumo Angbare, and Dr. Grace Iwolo, who will serve as secretary. Gunmen suspected to be involved in illegal crude oil bunkering have killed Mr. Good News Manash, the chairman of the Community Development Committee CDC of Igumotoro 1, a riverside community in southern Ijo local government area of Bayelsa State. Mr. Good News Manash, the victim, was reportedly ambushed over the weekend near the community school compound while heading to his brother's house around 10:30 p.m. A community leader who spoke on the condition of anonymity said the late CDC chairman had been working towards restoring peace in the troubled area. He added that the attackers might have targeted him in retaliation for recent military operations that disrupted their activities. His Royal Highness Ayibaikie Asemia Ofongo, the paramount ruler of the community, confirmed the killing. He said he was first informed of the CDC chairman's abduction between midnight and 2 a.m., but later received confirmation at daybreak that Mr. Manash had been killed. Also reacting, Dr. Aibatari Easterday, the press secretary to the chairman of Southern Ijo local government, condemned the act. He described it as shameful and damaging to the community's image, especially in the eyes of the international community. Dr. Easterday clarified that the chairman was not killed in his hometown, but near the compound of someone he was visiting. He called for tolerance and peaceful coexistence among community members, saying violence is not the way forward. Now, 3 Kenyan soldiers were killed on Tuesday and several injured when their vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device near the border with Somalia. The soldiers were on patrol when their vehicle struck the improvised explosive device. The Kenyan Defense Forces in a statement said that wounded personnel were evacuated to specialized military facilities and were responding to treatment. That's the Sunrise News from 97.5 Golden FM Yenagua. But before we go, here's a recap of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu and other African leaders have paid their last respects to former President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura. Stakeholders in Niger Delta have spoken on the legacies of late President Buhari. Police has busted a kidnap gang and has recovered 5 million naira ransom in Delta State. Bayelsa State NUJ chairman has inaugurated the 2025 Press Week Committee. And on a forward saying, 3 Kenyan soldiers have been killed in a roadside blast. That was the Sunrise News. For news stories, comments, and observations, please send us an email at goldingyenagua@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok on 97.5 Golding FM Yenagua. The news was edited by Brett Opal. And I am Moya Stealing. Good morning and thanks for listening.
Golden FM 97.5.